Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your man here with you, Rich, joined with Chris and Joe. No Matt today, feeling a little under the weather, so just the trio today. Boys, welcome to week 17, the finals for all major league, or everybody that pretty much does fantasy realistically. Anybody that goes past this week is crazy, but we'll not get into that. Started off at the top. How are we doing today, gentlemen? Joe, how are you?
Well, I'm in no playoffs, no finals, so I'm just watching the world burn. I know you guys have our dynasty finals between you two, which I'm very sad about because I have both your first rounds and I wish they were earlier. So I was hoping you guys both lost last week, but here we are. So pretty much solidified our dynasty draft. So now I have picks 5, 6. Warren has picks 7, 8, and then I have picks 9 and 10. And then the first 4 are in the lottery. So we'll see how those go. But for everyone that's in their finals, congratulations, and hope you make it home with a W. Chris, how are you? How are you looking forward to this matchup?
I've got to say, first of all, I'm doing great, fantastic. Out of all my leagues, made it to 4 finals, so pretty good. In terms of this dynasty matchup, a part of me should feel confident, but the last time I played Richie, it didn't end well. I ended up losing by like 20 points. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. I'm projected to win currently, but truthfully, anything can happen, especially he's starting Tyrod Taylor at Superflex. I feel like that could just be 40 random points. So I'm feeling, overall feeling good. But I'm not overconfident. I'm here. We're gonna have a great time. Maybe I'll, throw a couple memes in the chat every now and then. Hopefully I don't lose. Hopefully you get Puka Nakua. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's like I'm like on one side I have both Chris's first and second round draft picks, so it would make more sense to want him to lose. But then on the other hand, I don't want Richie wore a double champ shirt last year, and I never
He
want to
wore
see,
a double. No, I gotta take you
and I never
down,
want
bro.
after that whole point debacle with DeMar Hamlin, which honestly Richie would not have won. If you look at the teams, in one league he had all the players that were in those games, and in the other league he was playing against them. So he would have won one league and lost the other league, depending on what happens. So there was no way he
For
was gonna. But with all these weird rules that Matt made up, he somehow was the double champ and he got a shirt made. So I never want to see that shirt again. And I kind of
for
want Richie to get shot back to earth a little bit. But on the other hand, I have Chris's 2 picks, so I don't know. I don't know.
you're in a lose-lose situation, truly.
Lose
Yeah.
situation.
For reference, after what had happened, the unfortunate happenings of that, it was the Bengals Bills game in Week 17 last year. You guys played it out Week 18, right? That's what ended up happening.
Yeah, we played it out week 18, and literally right before the games started, me and my opponent, Josh, I messaged him right before the game started and asked him if he just wanted to count the points of the players that didn't go the week prior. I had only a couple players, so the Bengals and Bills players essentially.
Right.
Um, and he declined, saying, "No, let's just play it out normally, the way these our two teams, week 18, and see how it goes." And my team ended up winning in week 18 over his. And if he would have went the route of just taking my Bengals and Bills players, he would have won.
Damn. Who did you play against in the finals last year?
That was Joe. I'm sorry, Josh.
Josh.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can't win them
yeah,
all. Yes, even when you try your
yeah.
hardest. That
But I
sucks.
literally,
That
I
sucks.
handed it. I handed
You
him.
did.
I gave
You
him the
did.
question and said, "Do you want it?" And he said, "No, no, I
That's what I
want
feel
to
like most
play it out."
people did
Which,
after
yeah,
after the
yeah.
unfortunate situation. That's what I remember. In the one league I went finals in last year, we did the exact same thing. Pretty much, uh we were discussing everything. It's like I think the fairest thing is to just have our players who didn't play next week. That probably and just add the totals and just do that. That made the most sense to us. Um, which is what we ended up doing. Uh, but yeah, no, definitely, hopefully, for a lot of reasons, not just for fantasy, but for also everyone's health and everything else, that doesn't happen again. We don't have anything like that happen again, and we can get one good, clean week of football in where we have a great time. New Year's coming up. No one wants to be horrifically injured during that. So we definitely, get through this, have some fun, playful banter, and go from there.
Absolutely. Well said there. Well said there, Chris. And yeah, 1 week left. So decisions to be made, I'm sure, for a lot of people out there. It's been brutal, injuries riddled across the board. So some decisions I'm sure people are stuck being, between. It's just it's something that you didn't think you'd have to be in, I'm sure. I myself am dealing with some interesting ones like Mason Rudolph or Tyrod Taylor to start. So that is my own pickle, or Jake Browning, just to throw it into a mix. But yeah, we'll not get into that. Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, Tyrod Taylor definitely starting there for the Giants. I like that a lot. I think that gives the Giants a boost there. So good to hear on that front. Overall, it sounds like there's a couple of injuries that we're going to have to monitor. But I mean, for the most part, I think we all know who's in and who's out at this point. So, adjust accordingly. Questionable players nonetheless. I mean, you got ankle sprain on DJ Moore. I know he rolled up on, but it seems that the practice report showed him, with not on it or not on the injury report today. So looks good there for him and Justin Fields. I mean, a couple of things. Tyrod Taylor also just a note on. I think it helps Barkley as well. So love to see that. I mean, granted, tough matchup, probably the hardest matchup for running backs. So it's a 1-2 be wary with, but I do like Barkley. I think with the usage there, the volume, can't just steer away from that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So I know at this point, we're looking at a couple of things. I have some start sit decisions here. I mean, players that maybe we can look into a little more. Try to get your opinions here, guys, and see where you feel that you are. And started off a player of late that's kind of been real cold, and that's Austin Eckler, first against the Broncos, which I know we just heard from the Broncos. Russell Wilson probably going to be let go by March. So definitely an interesting thing to watch there and see where he's going to be the backup if he's not even going to play. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks going on there. But right
Which is
now,
crazy, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Crazy to think about. Like, can you how much longer was on his contract?
Oh, I don't know. I can look that up for you real quick though.
It was definitely like
he definitely wasn't playing. I don't think he was playing poor enough to get cut.
No, not at all. I thought he was playing serviceable. Like he was a serviceable quarterback. It's not like he was, the best of the best, but I don't think he was like what's happening right now is definitely uncalled for, I feel like.
I think if you lose to the Patriots, you lose your job.
That is true. Yeah, he's QB9 right now.
Yeah.
He signed a 5-year contract in 2023, so he signed all the way to 2028
Gotcha.
is what it was supposed to be.
Is that really on Russell Wilson losing to the Patriots? Is that on him?
What, losing to the Patriots? I wouldn't say so. I mean, you can't blame it entirely on him. Russell Wilson was playing pretty good ball. I mean,
he 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. He attempted 37 passes, completed 25 of them. That's a pretty good ratio. I mean, would you like to maybe have seen maybe some more yardage? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, for what he attempted and what he got completed, I don't think he was bad at all.
Well, it's going to be interesting where he goes. That is yet to be seen. I'm sure we will hear all types of rumors as we get into the off season here. But for now, it's Jarrett Stidham who's going to lead the Broncos. So, yeah, we have the Easton Stick-led Chargers versus the Jarrett Stidham-led Broncos. Great game there. So that's Austin Eckler is the player in question. Or would you rather play a Devon Achane against the Ravens?
You know,
So, I'd like to hear from you on this one.
I'd have to go Austin Eckler. I like A-Chain a lot for like a dynasty asset to hold, but with Mostert there right now and him being the touchdown stealing machine he is, you just got to go with Austin Eckler, especially with Herbert out. I feel like the Chargers are going to try to run the ball more than throw it if they can help it. So that means more points on the ground. And yeah, I'd have to play Austin Eckler over A-Chain here, especially with the Ravens defense is pretty good defense as we saw. So
They're definitely a really good defense. That's absolutely for sure. I worry about the run game there. I probably lean Eckler, even though he has been subpar as of late.
I
Chris,
also
you object.
I completely agree. No, I completely agree. It definitely
Okay,
Eckler all the way.
right on. Then I shall carry on then to our next guy here, and that would be David Montgomery versus against the Cowboys or Chuba Hubbard against the Jaguars. David Montgomery, we know, has been kind of succeeding work to Jameer. I got hurt in the last game or he actually just left and came back, I believe. I'm not sure if he actually did end up coming back. I'm not, 100% on that. But it seems to be overall that he's just losing some work to the rookie. So question marks with him a little bit there. How do you feel? Chuba Hubbard, Dave Montgomery, Chris.
I'm actually gonna go Chuba Hubbard on this one. Even though I think Montgomery is the better player, truthfully I feel like if this was like an earlier on the season game, I would go Montgomery. But the Lions they've already locked a division. They're currently they're trying to fight for placing within playoffs right now. Uh, I just have a fear that that offense is so high octane that if they get a good enough lead, they're going to start sitting people um, in the game. Whereas I don't feel like the Panthers are going to bother for obvious reasons. I feel like Chuba Hubbard will play the most of the game. The defense of the Jaguars is not that great, and even though there are very apparent holes on the Cowboys, I just fear that they will be exploited in other ways that isn't David Montgomery. We've also seen a good rise in Jahmyr Gibbs lately, and that also takes away from David Montgomery. So I'd be hesitant for that reason. I'd be a little fearful putting in Montgomery, knowing that they could be sat. Gibbs is a thing that definitely takes away stuff from Montgomery. So definitely Chuba Hubbard for me.
I'm with Chris
with-
as well with Chuba. Cowboys defense has always been pretty decent this year, and like you said with Montgomery with Gibbs there, any backfield where you have to guess who's going to get the touchdown between two really good running backs is never a place I want to be. Granted, Miles Sanders is also on the Panthers, but we've kind of seen Chuba pull ahead of him with the touches, so I think I'd lean for the top dog against the Jaguars defense with Chubbard. Chubba Hubba.
With Chubbard. All right. I like the take there for sure. Chuba has been doing his thing for as of the changing the scheme, the coordinator over there. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's real close. But the Cowboys defense does scare me a little bit more than the Jags. I think I lean the matchup. I'll take Chuba with you guys as well. Carrying on then. Yeah, I got one here. Tua Tagovailoa against the Ravens, or Pat Mahomes against the Bengals. Joe, how do you
Um,
feel?
I don't think you can sit Patrick Mahomes. I know that offense has been struggling, but even if you look at the matchup, I'd much rather have a quarterback against the Bengals defense than have one against the Ravens defense, which we just talked about how good they were. So yeah, definitely leaning more towards Pat Mahomes and in that offense.
100% agree.
Chris?
Yeah, 100% agree. Definitely Mahomes over Tua any of the week right now.
I really feel like this is going to be a Chiefs get right game, and it kind of really scares me as somebody who is versing it against Travis Kelsey. So
And maybe Pacheco. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't want to, Pacheco. I think you need to just rest up this week, man. It's fine.
Pacheco, don't
You
listen.
can do it.
Rush for 100 yards, catch 70 yards, and get like 3 touchdowns. Don't listen to Richie. Don't you got this, brother.
Okay. All right. Carrying on. We have here Stephon Diggs versus the Patriots, who's been actually really cold as of late, and it's been so
Very
depressing to
cold.
see. Or Michael Pittman against the Raiders. How do you feel, Chris?
I gotta be honest with you. The fact that I'm even like questioning who to pick here really shows how cold Diggs. Let me just hold on. I gotta look up some stats here.
Can I ask you, is Pittman? I haven't been following since I got knocked out too closely, but Pittman, is he fully through concussion protocol? Because I know
believe he is.
he got destroyed on that hit.
He absolutely got destroyed, but I believe Pittman is playing at the current moment.
My worry
Yes.
would be.
Oh no.
Do you think they're going to limit his snaps, easing him back in?
It looks like he's still.
He was a limit.
He's
was
limited in
limited
practice.
yeah, so he's not like fully. He remains in the NFL 5-step concussion protocol, so he needs to either have a full practice Thursday or Friday to have a chance to play Sunday.
Yeah.
So that worries me.
I would say limited practice definitely though. Like
It definitely leans in. But
it's good.
even if he does play, do you think that the Colts are going to limit his snaps?
That's a good question. I gotta be honest with you. I feel like the question gets brought, and for some reason, I don't know why. I feel like a lot of times when that question gets brought up, half the time or more than half, I should say, it really never happens, which I find really, really weird. And I think that might be incorrect on teams personally. To not limit their snaps when players come back in, but that's completely off topic. But hypothetically, what a horrible thing to debate. I cannot believe I'm debating Stephon Diggs and Michael Pittman.
There's a lot of panic in the streets when it comes to Stephon Diggs. I was listening to another podcast earlier today where they were debating between starting Stephon Diggs or David Njoku in the flex spot, and all of them picked David Njoku. I mean,
I
how
don't
the
blame
mighty
you.
have fallen.
Even Njoku is going insane right now. I wouldn't blame you for putting.
I think last week really when they played against the Chargers, which is like not a very good pass defense, and he only put up 5 fantasy points, is like that's the game where you thought he was going to bounce back,
so
and
suspect.
he didn't, and it's like, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on the Bills, dude, but I feel really bad for them. I don't know what.
I'll lead it off. I'll say Diggs. I'd put
Mr.
my
Diggs?
faith in him. Last time they played
All
New
right.
England, he put up 14.8 points. I'd be happy with that in a fantasy final. He can't not break 10 points 4 weeks in a row, can he? Like he has to.
It's
No.
true.
And with
And
Pittman coming back, I'm just nervous with him. Even if he does play, I could be a little bit limited, and I would just lean for the safer option with Diggs.
Yes, I think I definitely will agree with you here. Diggs, I think has potential to have a good game. I know it's hard to trust him, but I mean the man's a stud. So
True.
better days are ahead for sure. For sure.
I'll also lock in Diggs. I feel like if you drafted him and you got this far, you should probably do it just because he has the potential to do you justice, so to speak.
They are at home. I expect a good game from the Bills. Carrying on. George Pickens, the red hot George Pickens last week against the Seahawks. Or opposite side, Tyler Lockett against the Steelers. How do you feel, Chris? How do you feel, Chris?
Close one. I'm gonna be honest. Tyler Lockett against the Steelers.
Okay.
I think that's the better choice. I am
Safe
not
the floor.
confident in the Mason Rudolph experience personally. And while I know Pickens had like a fantastic week last week, everything went well. There is still Deontay Johnson in that offense. and Jalen Warren is also a pass catcher, and Firemuth also exists. I feel like that was perhaps the aligning of the stars for that 1 week. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad week. He could have a serviceable week, but I would be willing to bet more on Tyler Lockett going off than George Pickens going off, personally.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think they're both pretty. I want to say they're both pretty middle of the road options to me. I wouldn't be excited about playing either of them. It's not like yeah, I think if I had to pick between them, we saw what Pickens did last week, and I'd be like, hey, maybe it can happen again. I'd shoot my shot in the finals and play Pickens over Lockett.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys one last one here. We're gonna highlight the Thursday matchup for a second, or include it, I should say. So I want to know, would you play Joe Flacco in tomorrow's game against the Jets, or wait it out to the last game and play Nick Mullins? Which is Nick Mullins the starter? We think so, but they haven't exactly declared that yet. How do we feel, gents? Chris, you have Nick Mullins in
I
in
do.
a league against me here, so
Didn't
we'll
they?
let you
Didn't they win last
take
week?
it off.
The Vikings won, right?
The Vikings last week
Or did they lose?
against
Did they lose against Detroit? I can't even remember.
They lost.
They
He
did.
threw 4 interceptions, Chris.
Nick Mullins?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. All right, you are right.
They
He
lost.
did throw 4 interceptions, but he also threw for 400 yards,
He also did throw for 400 yards.
which is
that is correct.
insane, mind you. You're right. Yes, no, you're right. All right. So I am actually gonna go with Joe Flacco for a completely unrelated reason to the interceptions. TJ Hawkinson is out for the rest of the year with an ACL tear. And while Justin Jefferson is fantastic, obviously we've seen the bright spot that is Jordan Addison on that team. Green Bay isn't the worst defense in the world. And while I think Jair Alexander is currently suspended this week, I don't think he's actually playing because previous week, in case no one had heard about this, he went up with the team to actually be a captain, even though he was not marked as a captain that game. And he did the coin toss and everything, and the league, the team actually suspended him for a game. So I don't think he's playing this week. But even without that,
He's not.
I think what's up?
He's not playing.
Oh, okay. So even without that, I like to think they're a decent enough defense to where Nick Mullins will probably not. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions against Detroit, which is statistically a worse defense than Green Bay. So going into it, I can't assume much better. Joe Flacco is a monster, apparently. So I'm gonna go Joe Flacco against the Jets. 100%. I'm gonna go for it. Even though I know the Jets are a better defense, I have no reason to believe that he can't just tear through them for whatever godlike powers he's been gifted.
Well, you're going to have to be the tiebreaker, Richie, because I am going Nick Mullins.
I'm glad.
Joe Flacco against the Jets defense, which are very good. I don't think they're going to do very much at all. And you really, I know you mentioned Hawkinson being out, but out of Nick Mullins' 411 passing yards, Addison and Hawkinson only were 60 of those yards. And now, so he was making it work with the other guys on the field. I mean, Hawkinson's out, and Addison is day to day with his ankle injury. He might not even play this week. So, but I'd still go Nick Mullins. I'd still go Nick Mullins over Joe Flacco. I just think it's a safer bet and playing the matchup with the defense.
Yeah, I mean, so Hawkinson actually did get put on IR as of a couple of hours ago. I saw a notification come through, so yes, he is out. So yeah, I mean, definitely, Nick Mullins takes a hit there. Packers don't exactly scare me, however. The way that the Jets do, at least I should say.
True.
um, hmm, tough call, but I think I lean Flacco.
He says that because he's playing
Mullins,
against Nick Mullins. He's saying that right
Mullins,
now.
Mull, no. This is an honest.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
No, it comes down to really, I think, what I saw last week. The connection with Amari is real. I mean, not that Justin Jefferson can't get it done, but the Jets, I think, are just defeated at this point. They're kind of, I think, taking the knee. I don't really think it's going to be much of a showing from their end. I think it's really Joe Flacco is going to come in here and show the team what they gave up on, or basically what they should have kept. So my money's on Joe Flacco to have a better performance than Nick Mullins, but it may be very close actually. So who knows? Who knows? But that's going to do it for all those start and sit decisions there. Thanks for your opinions there, gents. And yeah, so carrying on then to our next little segment here, as we always do, Heroes of the Week. Gonna keep it short this week with just one highlighted hero, each a piece. And Joe, I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Listen, I've been pretty hot with my heroes. I told you to start Zeke last week. I guaranteed you on the show that he was going to get you at least what I say 12 to 14 fantasy points, and he got you 16, or no, how much did he get? 16.5. So I don't know. That's pretty close. That's a little more than what I asked. So I'm gonna go with this week, Jonathan Taylor, my man, my ride or die. Zach Moss is out. He's not playing. So JT is back, and people are going to be like, see why you drafted him and you put him on your IR, and people are like, oh, that's a dumb play. That's a dumb play. You'll show them all right now in the finals when he comes out there, and he's going to get at least one touchdown. I'm projecting at least 100 rushing yards and one touchdown for Jonathan Taylor.
Whoa. Big words there. Big
He's going to have
words.
a good game. He's going to show people.
I like it. I like it. I mean, it would really come full circle if Jonathan Taylor could deliver for the people that have been holding out with him all season long. I'm sure they would thank him, forgive him, and we can move on to having him as a fantasy relevant running back next season. Chris, I'm going to let you take the next
Sure.
pick.
Yeah. So my hero this week is gonna be CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That is intrinsic if Pacheco does not play. That is very. If he plays, don't bother. It's probably not worth it. Um, but if he sits, I would put in CEH. He did not do that great last week, but the Chiefs didn't really do that great last week. So I wouldn't really judge everything based off of that. The week before, he had 18.10 fantasy points. He did fantastic. They're going against Cincinnati Bengals. This week could very well be like a sort of perhaps redemption game. I think we alluded to earlier. It's against a team that has a definitely steady rivalry with the Chiefs. Even though Joe Burrow is not there, perhaps people feel like the rivalry isn't really there right now because the teams aren't fully healthy. For the players, it might still be. It's probably still there. The Chiefs are fighting for better seeding in the playoffs. Truly, they have nothing to lose. Pacheco isn't going to be out forever. So if there isn't, knowing that, there's going to be no reason why they don't like use CH to the fullest extent that you can possibly go. I would say that if you picked him up at one point, and Pacheco doesn't play, this is probably going to be your guy. Against a subpar Cincinnati Bengals defense, he very, very well could win you a fantasy league, 100%. You're muted, Richie.
After that. So yes, it's going to be interesting what we're going to see from the Kansas City Chiefs this week. I know it's been on and off all season long. They haven't looked like themselves, so intriguing nonetheless. But CEH should have a good day if he's the only guy back there, which I think he will be. My guy that I'm going with here is going to be Geno Smith versus against Pittsburgh. I think Geno could pull it out this week. The Seahawks are looking to hold on to their current 7th seat in the playoff contention here. I think they have something really going and brewing. They've been looking strong over these past couple of weeks. I don't know how much Pete Carroll has left in him. So with all that, I think he's going to push it as hard as he really can. So I think that this is a week that you can see Pittsburgh kind of be scrappy and try to keep up with the Seahawks. But overall, I think the Seahawks take this one. I think Geno Smith has a good game in it. And yeah, I wouldn't even, I'd be more surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mason Rudolph also turn the ball over, give them good position here, and watch Geno Smith kind of take advantage of some close field into the end zone. So should be a good time there. And so that's going to wrap it up for Heroes of the Week. And with that, we get closer to the end of our episode here. But before we go, one last little segment, and that's going to be our defensive streamers here. Couple of notes on them. Bears versus the Falcons. To start off, could be a good one. A little bit back and forth. We know the Falcons QB struggling, question marks there. So with all that, the Bears have looked good. The defense has been playing well, so I can see definitely why we would want to, lean on the Bears maybe, and so to get some points here, some surprise points in your fantasy lineups, maybe as a sleeper pick there. Jags versus Panthers. I think it's really just looking at the Panthers. They have a hard time scoring. They're having quite the QB rookie woes there with Bryce Young. So tough to really see how it's going to play out for him in the long run. But right now, definitely some question marks there. So Jags, I know they've been not the best defense, but could take advantage of the Panthers for sure. Rams, I like this pick here. Rams playing against my G-men. It's kind of writes itself there, right? I mean, the Giants haven't looked that great, though. I would take a step back. I mean, Tyrod is, I know, not the best quarterback, but he can still run the system. I think Saquon knows what he's doing there. So overall, it can be give or take. Really depends. I know that with the Giants being at home, I like that more so than if they were in LA. So something to watch there. And last, I'm going to hit on Seahawks against the Steelers. I think it's really just comes down to what I mentioned before, where Mason Rudolph is not that good at quarterback, even though he had a good game last week. I don't think he can necessarily repeat it. So Seahawks, I think, can take advantage of it, and I can even see a pick six happening here. So any other defenses you guys want to add on before we get out of here?
No, you touched on a lot of the big ones.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to another episode. Like always, make sure you give us likes, reviews, check us out on YouTube, ask us questions on X. We also have the website as well. You can send us email there. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Everyone, have a happy New Year. Good luck in your fantasy finals. Peace out.
Some dynasty stuff coming up for you. Got some mock rookie drafts coming up. Some dynasty trade holds, buy sells. So keep an eye out. And like Richard said,
a lot of dynasty talk.
Yep.
A lot of dynasty talk coming up in this offseason, but we'll touch on that as we get through.
Yes. All right. See you guys later.
Around.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter at TheHeroesFF.